Hi, my name is Sarah, a 35 years old running a flower shop with my father. Inheriting Rapid Roses, the quaint flower shop nestled in the heart of our small town, felt like stepping into a legacy woven with petals and dreams. My father, a man of modest height but towering presence, had run this shop with a passion that seemed to flow through his veins as vividly as the colors of the blooms he cherished. Despite his battle with cardiac disease, a struggle that cast a shadow over his later years, he never wavered in his dedication. Each day, he stood behind the counter, his hands, though aged and weathered, skillfully arranging flowers with a love that was almost tangible. His smile, as warm as the morning sun, never faded, not even on his hardest days. His passing was both a heartbreak and a turning point in my life. I, Sarah, along with my husband John, found ourselves at the helm of Rapid Roses, a responsibility I embraced wholeheartedly. Continuing my father's legacy was not just a duty, it was a tribute to the man who had raised me among rows of roses, lilies, and daisies, teaching me the language of flowers before I could even properly speak. Under my stewardship, Rapid Roses blossomed further. The local community, a tapestry of faces both old and new, continued to find solace and joy in our floral arrangements. The regular customers, some of whom had watched me grow up amidst the foliage, remained fiercely loyal. They would often share stories of my father, recounting tales of his kindness, his extraordinary talent for choosing the perfect bouquet for any occasion, and his unfailing good humor. The staff, a small but dedicated group who had worked with my father for years, welcomed me as their new leader. They respected my vision and supported my efforts to preserve the essence of Rapid Roses while gently steering it into a new era. I spent countless hours in the back room, amidst the scent of fresh earth and cut stems, practicing my father's unique style of bouquet arrangement. His approach wasn't just about aesthetics, it was about evoking emotions, telling stories through the language of flowers. However, not everything was as harmonious as the array of flowers that adorned the shop. A subtle yet growing rift began to form between John and me. John, a man of traditional beliefs, struggled with the idea of not being the primary owner of the shop. He often expressed his discontent in hushed tones, voicing his frustrations behind the closed doors of our home. His traditional views on gender roles stood in stark contrast to the progressive, inclusive values my father had instilled in me. John believed that as a man, it was his right, perhaps even his duty, to be at the forefront of the business. This belief was rooted deep within him, shaped by the environment he had grown up in, an environment vastly different from the nurturing, open-minded world of Rapid Roses. Our disagreements began as mere ripples, small and seemingly insignificant. But as time passed, they grew into waves, crashing against the sturdy boat of our marriage. I found myself torn between my love for John and my commitment to my father's legacy. The shop, once a symbol of unity and love, began to feel like a battleground, with each decision I made as the owner becoming a point of contention. John's frustration was not just with the ownership, it extended to the way the business was run. He often suggested changes, modernizing the marketing strategies, expanding the product line to include more than just flowers, and even altering the shop's quaint interior. While I was open to innovation, I was also deeply protective of the essence of Rapid Roses, the simplicity and authenticity that had made it a beloved fixture in our community. One evening, after a particularly long day at the shop, John and I found ourselves in the midst of yet another argument. The shop had closed, and we were alone amidst the shadows cast by the moonlight filtering through the windows. The air was heavy with the fragrance of roses, a stark contrast to the tension between us. "Sarah, you need to understand," John said, his voice a mix of frustration and desperation. "This isn't just about tradition or my ego. It's about us, our future. We can turn Rapid Roses into something even bigger, more successful." I looked at him, my heart heavy with a sadness I couldn't quite name. "But John, don't you see? Rapid Roses is not just a business. It's a legacy, my father's legacy. It's about the personal touch, the connection with our customers. It's about the stories each bouquet tells. I can't lose that essence. I won't." The conversation that night didn't reach a resolution. We were two souls, deeply in love, yet standing on opposite sides of a chasm that seemed to widen with every passing day. The shop, once a shared dream, was slowly becoming a symbol of our diverging paths. In the days that followed, I threw myself into my work with even greater fervor, seeking refuge in the familiar comfort of flowers and foliage. I organized community events, hosted flower arrangement workshops, and even started a small blog to share stories about the shop and the meaning behind different flowers. These initiatives were well received, bringing in more customers and strengthening the bond between Rapid Roses and the community. Meanwhile, John busied himself with his own projects, often staying late at the office or going out with friends. Our conversations became brief, functional, devoid of the warmth and laughter that once defined them. The shop, with its vibrant colors and life, stood in stark contrast to the growing dullness of our relationship. One rainy afternoon, as I was arranging a display of sunflowers and daisies, Mrs. Henderson, one of our oldest customers, walked in. Her eyes, always twinkling with a mischievous light, seemed to see right through me. She had known my father well and had watched me grow up. "Sarah, my dear," she began, her voice gentle. "I've seen you and John lately. You both look like you're carrying the world on your shoulders. Remember, love is like a flower. It needs care, patience, and sometimes a little pruning to bloom fully." Her words struck a chord within me. I realized then that in my zeal to uphold my father's legacy, I might have neglected the other important part of my life, my marriage. I needed to find a balance, a way to bridge the gap between my dreams and John's, between the past and the future. That night, I sat down with John, a fresh bouquet of peonies, his favorite, between us. We talked, really talked, for the first time in months. We shared our fears, our hopes, and our dreams. It was the beginning of a new chapter for us, one where Rapid Roses would continue to thrive, not just as a business, but as a symbol of our love and partnership. Together, we embarked on a journey of compromise and understanding. We introduced some of John's ideas, like enhancing our online presence and adding a small cafe corner in the shop where people could enjoy a coffee surrounded by the beauty of flowers. These changes brought new energy to Rapid Roses, attracting a younger crowd while still maintaining the charm and personal touch that our regulars cherished. Our relationship, like the shop, began to flourish again. We found joy in working together, blending our strengths and ideas to create something truly beautiful. Rapid Roses became more than just a flower shop. It was a testament to our love, our resilience, and our shared journey. As I stand now behind the counter, arranging a bouquet of roses and lilies, I can't help but feel a sense of pride and contentment. Rapid Roses, with its vibrant blooms and the legacy of my father, continues to be a haven of beauty and love, a place where stories are told and memories are made. And alongside me, John, my partner in life and in business, shares this journey, proving that even the most delicate flowers can weather the storm when tended with love and care. The arrival of Emily, John's younger sister, marked a turning point in the already strained dynamics of our life and business at Rapid Roses. Emily was a whirlwind of trouble, her life a series of misadventures and missteps. With no stable job and a personality that clashed sharply with mine, her sudden return to town was unsettling, to say the least. Her presence in our lives brought a new level of tension, a kind that simmered beneath the surface, threatening to boil over at any moment. Emily, with her carefree attitude and disregard for rules, began to frequent Rapid Roses, treating the shop more like her personal playground than a business. She had a habit of picking out bouquets, the most exquisite arrangements I had painstakingly created, and leaving without paying a dime. Each time she did this, a part of me crumbled. Not just because of the financial loss, which was significant for a small business like ours, but because it felt like a blatant disrespect for the legacy my father had left behind. I objected, of course. How could I not? But every time I brought it up, John dismissed my concerns, citing family bonds as a reason to overlook Emily's behavior. "She's going through a tough time," he would say, or, "Family is family, Sarah. We need to stick together." But where was the line, I wondered. At what point did family support turn into enabling destructive behavior? This leniency towards Emily only served to widen the rift between John and me. Our marriage, once a partnership built on love and mutual respect, began to crumble under the weight of unspoken grievances and brewing resentments. Communication, which had always been our strength, now became sparse and strained. We were like two ships passing in the night, each lost in a sea of confusion and hurt. As the days passed, Emily's influence over John seemed to grow. They spent more time together, often in hushed conversations that ceased the moment I entered the room. I could feel something brewing, a plan being hatched in the shadows, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Then, one fateful day, the other shoe dropped. John and Emily approached me with a coldness in their eyes that I had never seen before. Without preamble, John handed me a set of divorce papers, his voice devoid of any emotion. "I think it's best for both of us," he said, his words slicing through me like a knife. But the shock didn't end there. With an almost triumphant gleam in her eye, Emily announced their intention to buy Rapid Roses from me. "We think it's for the best," she said, her voice laced with a barely concealed smugness. "You can move on, start fresh somewhere else." I stood there, papers in hand, feeling like the ground had been pulled from beneath my feet. Betrayal, hurt, disbelief, a myriad of emotions crashed over me in waves. How had it come to this? How had the man I loved, the business I had poured my heart and soul into, become pawns in this cruel game? But as the initial shock subsided, a spark of something else flickered to life within me: determination. I wasn't going to let them win, not like this. I agreed to their proposal, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. "All right, I'll sell Rapid Roses to you," I said, watching their faces light up with a victory that they thought was already theirs. Little did they know, I had a plan of my own. Over the years, I had not only inherited my father's talent for floral arrangements, but also his business acumen and foresight. I had contacts in the industry, loyal customers, and a reputation that was worth more than the walls and shelves of Rapid Roses. In the weeks that followed, as John and Emily busied themselves with their takeover plans, I began to lay the groundwork for my next move. I reached out to my contacts, explaining the situation and seeking their support. The response was overwhelming. Suppliers who had known my father offered their help, customers expressed their loyalty, and the local community rallied around me. The day I signed the papers to sell Rapid Roses was bittersweet. I watched as John and Emily, brimming with unearned pride, took over the shop that had been my home, my sanctuary. But as I turned to leave, a sense of peace settled over me. I was leaving behind a chapter of my life, but I was also stepping into a new one, filled with possibilities and the promise of new beginnings. As I walked away, I glanced back one last time at Rapid Roses. It had been my past, a beautiful, sometimes painful past. But ahead of me lay the future, a blank canvas waiting to be filled with new dreams, new challenges, and a new story that was mine alone to write. Unbeknownst to John and Emily, I had a secret weapon, a hidden ace up my sleeve: Rapid Roses Second. This was another flower shop, a legacy from my father that I had kept under wraps, a silent guardian waiting in the wings. While the drama unfolded at the original Rapid Roses, I was already laying the foundations for a grand resurgence, a phoenix ready to rise from the ashes of betrayal and despair. Before the ink was even dry on the papers that transferred ownership of Rapid Roses to John and Emily, I had already begun the process of redirecting my loyal customers and trusted employees to Rapid Roses Second. This shop, located in a quaint corner of the town, was imbued with the same charm and warmth as the original, but with a touch of something new, something uniquely mine. Meanwhile, John and Emily, with their limited knowledge of flowers and lack of business acumen, struggled to keep the original Rapid Roses afloat. Their inexperience was glaringly obvious. The once vibrant and bustling shop began to lose its luster under their management. The quality of the flowers plummeted, customer service became a thing of the past, and the soul of the shop, once alive with color and fragrance, faded into a dull, lifeless husk. The customers, once loyal patrons of Rapid Roses, began to drift away, lured by the promise of the same quality and warmth they had known and loved, now offered at Rapid Roses Second. It wasn't long before the original shop, a victim of John and Emily's incompetence, found itself sinking into an abyss of debt. A staggering $5 million in the red, the shop became a hollow echo of its former glory, a monument to their failure and despair. On the other hand, Rapid Roses Second was a resounding success. Keeping true to my father's original bouquet style, I also infused the shop with my own creativity and vision. I introduced new arrangements, catering to a younger demographic, blending tradition with modernity in a symphony of colors and scents. The shop became more than just a place to buy flowers. It was a community hub, a place where people came to experience the beauty and tranquility that only nature could offer. My father's legacy was alive and well at Rapid Roses II, but it was also evolving, growing into something even he would have been proud of. Financial success was just one aspect of it. The real reward was the personal fulfillment I found in seeing my dream, my vision, come to life. The contrast between the two shops couldn't have been starker. While Rapid Roses II flourished, the original Rapid Roses withered under the weight of debt and despair. John and Emily, their pride swallowed by their failures, eventually came to me, a picture of desperation. They begged me to take back the original shop, to undo the sale and refund their money. But I saw through their ploy. It was not remorse that drove them, but greed and the sting of their incompetence. I refused their request, my decision firm and unwavering. "I'm sorry," I told them, "but you made your choice. Rapid Roses II is my focus now. This is where my heart and my future lie." They left, defeated and despondent. A stark reminder of the consequences of underestimating the heart and soul that goes into running a business, especially one as delicate and nuanced as a flower shop. I turned my full attention to Rapid Roses II, pouring my heart, soul, and the wisdom I had inherited from my father into it. The shop wasn't just a business, it was a living, breathing testament to my father's legacy, a legacy I was determined to honor and preserve. As I stood in the midst of my flourishing shop, surrounded by the vibrant colors and sweet fragrances of my flowers, I felt a deep sense of peace and accomplishment. I had overcome betrayal, navigated through the storm of heartache, and emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined. Rapid Roses II wasn't just a flower shop. It was a symbol of resilience, of the enduring power of love and dedication. It was proof that even in the face of adversity, one could rise, stronger and more vibrant than ever. This was my legacy, my tribute to my father, and my gift to the community that had stood by me through thick and thin. And as the years passed, Rapid Roses II continued to thrive, a beacon of beauty and hope, ensuring that the legacy of my father, and now mine, would continue to bloom for